Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Are the baseball players and owners trying to agree to playing the 2020 season, or just trying to set the record for the most offers turned down by two different groups? I don't know what your tolerance level is, but I've passed mine already by a long shot. When the players were reportedly ready, they said, just tell us when and where. Well, they got turned down after they did that. I've got an idea. Just like the new rule that says pitchers must face at least 3 batters, players and owners ought to get only 3 offers. I think I'm onto something. We've got Chris Fedor here. We'll talk Cavaliers and more. More sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Monday night, it's a brand new week. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into its 24th consecutive season, exclusively on cleveland.com. Soon to be 25th, I think, somewhere around the 1st of September. So we're looking forward to that. Chris Fedor is here. He covers the Cavaliers for cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer, although it's been a tough go. Chris, everything you learned in journalism school goes out the window, right?
That's pretty much it, yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Les?
Good,
it's been
good.
a long time.
Yeah, it has been a long time. Hey, let me just throw this out at you because we're celebrating the 4th anniversary of the parade downtown Cleveland, which everybody was talking more about the parade than they were about some of the things that went on in the championship series. When you consider what's going on, assumingly in Orlando, the 23 teams and the 8 teams, or however they broke it down, having it at one spot with the bubble area. Did they get it right under all the circumstances and all the things you know about behind the scenes? Did they do the right thing here?
So I think you laid it out there perfectly, Les, because to me it is about the circumstances. And I think when you're talking about a pandemic and you're talking about the number of issues that come with a pandemic, there isn't something that you can come up with that is going to satisfy everybody. Some team is going to have a beef, regardless of what you do. If you play, the Lakers are going to be upset because they lose home court advantage. If you play, Milwaukee's going to be upset because they lose home court advantage. If you don't play, the Cavs are going to be upset because they want more time to develop their young guys. And I think everybody has a legitimate beef. Everybody has a reason to gripe. But I think everybody also has to have some recognition that it's not about them individually. It's about the greater good of the NBA. And I still think that restarting the NBA, finishing the regular season somehow, some way, crowning a champion is the best thing for the NBA at this point in time, if they can find a way to do it safely and by protecting the players. And all indications are, less, if you send a 113-page memo with all these different restrictions, all these different rules, it tells me that you've really thought through all of the different ways to try and keep these guys safe and protected.
Yeah, and my guess is they're adding stuff almost on a daily basis as different situations come out. Let's go back in time, though, before we talk about what's going on right now, and talk about some happy times we had in downtown Cleveland. 4 years ago today, it was the parade, and you were doing it on TV here with Dave Bacon and somebody else. Who else?
Dan Lobby.
Oh, and Dan Lobby, absolutely. And I was doing it on radio on 92.3 The Fan, and 1.3 million is the number we came up with, basically because the in vaudeville, odd numbers are funnier than even numbers, so that's how we came up with that. I don't know if you knew that.
Everybody's running with 1.3 million, like it's gospel at this point in time too, which I think is hilarious.
Right. So here you see downtown Cleveland, a perfect day for it. And you know, we always talked before this came about that if the Browns would ever win, it would be a bigger parade. I'm not so sure because it would be in February. So, but this is what we got in June of 4 years ago. What were your feelings as that was going on?
It was long, right? I mean, my goodness. It It was a hot day, and it was supposed to start at one time, and it was really, really long because logistically, Cleveland doesn't know how to do this, and that's no knock against the city. They have no experience. There's no playbook for how to do this. There's no past experience that they can draw on for how to do it properly. So I remember talking to some people that got there so early, Les, and they lined up close to the gate, and it just didn't matter because everybody just raced to the front and they charged down the barricades, and then they filed into the street and made it difficult for the players to get through. So the length of it is something that really stood out to me.
Yeah, the restroom factor, I believe, is also a big part of the deal, or lack thereof.
Yeah. I mean, for the players, too, it was difficult because they didn't know how long they were going to be dealing with it.
Right.
They were in the heat. They had their families. They had their kids. I don't think they had as much water as they would want to have. So, I mean, it was a great thing because you had all the pictures of people hanging from buildings and just trying to get a glimpse and take in this special moment in Cleveland. And at the same time, you had players that really couldn't get through on the route that they wanted to because there were so many people that wanted to be a part of it, wanted to experience it. So that was a day that the entire community came together. And it didn't matter if you were from the east side or the west side, right? It didn't matter if the person next to you was actually your buddy. You were a Clevelander that day, and that's all that mattered. And the last time that I can recall in this city feeling that same kind of sense of community and togetherness, Les, it was actually the day that LeBron came back. He announced his return. Like, you hugged strangers, you high-fived with people that you didn't know because you're just so caught up in the emotion and you're so overwhelmed with excitement. And to spin it forward to the championship parade, to me, it's just fitting that the person that brought us all together again was LeBron. It seems like he always has a knack for doing that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that we just watched the Michael Jordan biographies and all that, and 5 different championships. If they hit on the right thing on the first one and they just did it on 2, 3, 4, and 5, or did they have little touches? To me, they all ran together. Maybe, when you have that many. This is a dumb thing to say. If you have that many, maybe not each individual one is as fun as it could be, but that's not possible.
I don't think that is possible. I hope, let's say this, Les, I hope that we don't ever get to a sense where we start taking these kinds of things for granted.
Hey, I just thought of this because you're talking about 2016, and that was at the same time the Indians and the Cubs were in the World Series together. And I'm just wondering if the Cavaliers won theirs and then Cleveland and then the Indians win theirs, or vice versa, how much different it might have been. How much cachet do you get for being the first one to win it in 52 years? I assume you would rather have it that way than sharing it with somebody else, right?
Absolutely, no doubt. And I got the sense that LeBron wanted to be the one to do that too. And I think it's not just that. I mean, it's that, obviously. It's the 52 years. It's what it meant to the city. But I think there were other subplots to it as well. Part of it being it was LeBron. It was, a guy from Akron. And on top of that, the Cavs rallied from a 3-1 deficit against the Golden State Warriors. They did something that had never been done before in NBA Finals history. So you add it all together, you put it in a big soup, and I think that's why it had the reaction and the excitement that it did. And I don't want to say that an Indians World Series wouldn't have had the same level, but I just think those little subplots about it meant so much to that championship when we talk about it in history.
And you mentioned coming back from 3-1. If it played out the way it was supposed to, if the Cavaliers don't have those injuries in Game 1, maybe they win Game 1 and then they win the whole thing in 6 games. And it's winning. If you know you're going to win it in 7, you'd rather win it in 7.
I think if you can guarantee that, sure, because it certainly adds to it. Of course, it's very, very difficult to go on the road and win a Game 7, especially against the team that you were playing in the Golden State Warriors. But I got the sense, it's funny that you bring that up because it was after Game 4 It was after game 4. Everybody was in the locker room. The Cavs had just gone down 3-1. But that was when, at the end of game 4, Draymond Green decided to kick LeBron in the jewels. And then there were questions about his suspension. So that's what the conversation was in the locker room that night. Even though the Cavs were down 3-1, there was this sense of we might be okay here, in part because Draymond opened the door for us. We just have to go get game 5. There's no chance that the Warriors are coming back here winning game 6 on our home floor. And then we just have it be a one-game situation where we have LeBron James, the guy who can impact a game more than anybody else, where we have Kyrie Irving, a cold-blooded assassin, in a close game situation. We feel like we've got a chance here. So there was a vibe, Les, after game 4, even though the Cavs were down 3-1, that it was going to go 7, and they were far from out of it.
All right, when we come back, we're going to listen in on what Kyrie had to say and how those words resonate some 3-4 years later. We'll do that when we get back. Chris Fedor is here covering the Cavaliers for cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the last 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all over the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more sports and Les Levine. It's real simple. We put up a question in the morning. You put up answers any time of the day that you'd like. We read it at night. Pretty simple solution right there. More Sports and Les Levine on Facebook. We'll come back. We'll listen in on what Kyrie had to say and how the words change over the past couple of years. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Man, I've been watching the block more than anything because, you know, there's no shot without the block. So, you know, you see a guy chasing down a shot like that, and then I get a chance to, on the biggest stage, Game 7, man, I wish I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't trade the world for
Okay.
it.
Is there any one thing that you would like to say to your teammates in front of 1.3 million people?
It don't matter how many people there are. Look, man, from the bottom of my heart, there is, and these guys know me. They know how crazy I am. But after the game, and I know we all felt it, but there was a reason why all of us were put together. There was a specific reason why every single guy is here. Like, just think about our journeys, the adversity, everything we've dealt with in our lives, the ups, the downs, championship winners, Eastern Conference champs, Western Conference, whatever you've done, we're all together and we're all bonded for life. And this is an unbelievable ride that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And the only question that can ever be said about this team is, what's next? What's next?
Well, did he know what was next at the time?
I don't think yet. I think that was a little bit further down the road when he started to feel like it was time for him to leave.
How do you feel about the potentiality of retiring his number, put it up in the rafters? What do you think?
I think it's a no-brainer, honestly.
A no-brainer which way?
I think it's a yes. He's the second best player in franchise history. He hit the biggest shot. He made 4 All-Star appearances here with the Cavs. He was Rookie of the Year here with the Cavs. His best basketball will probably be played here with the Cavs. And even though it ended the way that it did, Les, I just don't think you make these kinds of significant franchise-altering decisions out of emotional pettiness. I think you have to have a cool mind, clear eyes, and you have to do what's right for everybody in the organization. You cannot tell the story of the Cleveland Cavaliers and their championship without recognizing Kyrie Irving's brilliance.
Do you feel the same way if he, I know they like in baseball history, you don't talk about Don Larson because he pitched the one perfect game in Major League history in the World Series. Did you feel, if the last minute didn't play the way the last minute played, would you still feel that way?
Yes, I still think so. Because whether he hits that shot or not, he's the second greatest player in franchise history behind LeBron James.
216-575-0403 is the number to call if you'd like to get in and talk to Chris Fedor, cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer, where he does such a great job following the Cleveland Cavaliers. Seems the same deal. Browns and Cavaliers, you could win the over-under on when a coaching change is going to be made, I think. How about this coaching change? Was it one that had to happen, and how did it happen that way? How did John Beilein wind up here, and how did he wind up not being here?
Well, I think if you go back to what the Cavs were looking for during their coaching search, Les, beyond the age, and I say beyond the age, but it's hard to say that. I know that because age certainly played into his downfall. But beyond the age, there was logic that pointed to somebody like John Beilein. You needed somebody who had a history of turning around programs, no matter which level. You needed somebody who had a history of developing young talent, no matter which level. You needed somebody who had a knack for building a culture, building a program. And that's what the Cavs were looking for. That's what they needed in this rebuild. And John Beilein fit that criteria. In saying that, it was a risk because he was making a leap from college to the pros. It was a risk because he was 66 years old trying to communicate to 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds in a situation where he was not the face of the program, where he was not the voice of the program. And I think those things became such a big hurdle for John Beilein. It was very, very difficult for him to transition to the NBA and communicate with players in a way that was going to make them want to follow him. That, to me, was his greatest downfall. He was not able to meet the players halfway. He was not able to get through to them. They didn't trust him. And I think that's huge in a locker room.
All right, all those things.
Once Jason Bickerstaff took over, you could sense a shift in those areas with this team.
all those things being said, he had to be able to communicate with young people when he had his success in Michigan. Maybe
and they had to listen to him.
Well, because
Yeah,
he controlled
game
playing time more than anything else. He didn't
Exactly
control
right.
money.
Right. That's the thing. Like, he could tell some of those kids in college, hey, you're not going to play tonight. And he could get away with it because he was the face of the program, because what he said mattered most. I remember having conversations with him in the locker room after games when he seemed really, really distraught. Actually, it was next to the locker room, right by his office. Some nights, just me and him talking about everything. And there were some nights that he was incredibly distraught, and he was asking himself, why did I do this? He had to remind himself why he was here. And something that he brought up to me in that moment was, what am I supposed to do? Bench Kevin Love in the fourth quarter? Like, how can I do that? He's our max player. He's the most important player. What does that, he didn't know what that would have done to a locker room. And his belief was what that would have done to his team, his locker room would have been a lot different than if he would have benched like Nick Stauskas while he was at Michigan or something like that. So he was able to communicate to kids that age less for sure, but those kids had to listen to him in a way that NBA players simply don't have to listen to coaches because it's a players' league.
Would it might have been different had they won a couple of close games early on or somewhere along the line? Did a basket here or a basket there make that much difference in his belief and his philosophy and how he should approach it? Or was the game just too overwhelming for the whole thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would have changed too much because if you remember, Les, they started 4-5. Their first road trip of the season was like a team bonding road trip. They took a train from Washington, D.C. to New York, and then another one from New York to Philadelphia. They went to a museum in Washington, D.C. So there were a lot of moments of team bonding early in the season, and there were a lot of moments of promise. I just think John Beilein is the kind of personality who wears on you over time. And I think he has the kind of demeanor and the strictness that wears on somebody over time. And I don't think the players in the locker room wanted that. And I don't think John Beilein was ready to change enough for their liking to get it to a place where it would have been anything but toxic for everybody involved.
216-575-0403 is the number to call if you'd like to get in with Chris Fedor. Tomorrow night, Bud Shaw will join us. Wednesday night, Andy Baskin. Then on Thursday, it'll be Mary Kay Cabot as we go on throughout the week. When we come back, we'll hear from LeBron James and what he was thinking. He was thinking $1.3 million. Wow, it ends on an odd number. It must be the right call, the right estimate. Should Darius Garland get a pass for his rookie season? We'll talk about that and more, including Kevin Love, with Chris Fedor when we get back. Northeast Factory Direct. They've got 3 locations, West 140th Street toward the airport off 480, and of course Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid and Freeway Drive, that of course in Macedonia. And the website, that's where you got to go first, northeastfactorydirect.com. We'll come back in a moment with Chris Fedor. More sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate NatureStone's 30-year anniversary with a free NatureStone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making NatureStone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Thank you for all the LeBron wishes and coming home wishes and all that, but I'm nothing without this group behind me, man. I'm nothing without the coaching staff. I'm nothing without the city. You guys are unbelievable, and these guys told me I got to turn around, so I'm nothing without y'all. I know every single one of y'all watched that finals. Y'all saw what this guy is capable of doing. And he's only 24 years, oh my goodness. He's only 24. He don't reach his prime for another 3 years. Thank you, Kyrie. But this guy is so misunderstood. Everybody says, well, he's not a team player. He's not a winner. He doesn't do what it takes. And you guys saw his struggles throughout the finals. Everything that happened from the concussion to sitting out to him having his shooting struggles and things of that nature, and everybody just burying him alive for the finals. And to be able to respond like he did in Game 7, that's what real men do. They respond in that most adverse times. And we talk about the shot, we talk about the block, but the stop, I'm not saying the do, but the stop, that was on a two-time MVP, by the way. That was on a two-time MVP. We got that stop, but I'm gonna let that go. Thank you, Kev. What you guys do not see is the hard work behind the scenes when all these cameras and all these lights and everything is not around. And I heard a lot of thank you LeBrons today, and you know, thanks for coming home and thanks for keeping your promise, but I really, you guys really should be thanking all the guys up here, to be honest.
It's interesting. It was only 4 years ago. Look how the whole look changes, and the whole, I don't know, everything about it. LeBron and Kyrie throwing out all the love, and it's interesting. What, in retrospect, what are your thoughts? Hearing what you heard then and what you know now.
I mean, you obviously have guys who are caught up in the emotion of it all, but there were underlying things, and I think we wrote about it, we covered them, and I think some of the players even addressed it, like the adversity that they went through, the challenges that they went through. They were able to overcome that year, and I think that's one of the things that made it so impressive. You know, a coaching change midway through the season, Kevin Love suffering a concussion, not knowing what they were going to do with the rotation for the next couple of games, then going with Richard Jefferson in the starting lineup, then Kevin Love back coming in Game 7, having a huge game. So there were underlying things that this group had to deal with. They did it the right way. They came together. I just think some of those issues still ended up playing a part in them crumbling at the end of all of this, and Kyrie Irving deciding that he no longer wanted to be a part of it. And I think Kyrie Irving's greatness and the things that so many fans loved about him and the things that LeBron James loved about him and things that we all saw on the biggest stage of the NBA Finals, ironically less, is exactly what led to him leaving.
Yeah. Looking back at the 7-game series, let's take out the last minute of it all, because you had Love and you had Kyrie and you had LeBron, of course. Is there some, even if it's not Game 7, what sticks out most to you about that 7-game series? Is it something that happened in Game 1, Game 4, or does it all boil down to Game 7?
I honestly think it's Game 5. End of Game 4 and beginning of Game 5. And I've said this a number of times, and a lot of people don't want to hear it, and they've criticized me for it. If Draymond Green doesn't do what he did at the end of Game 4, I don't think the Cavs win the championship. I think he opened the door and he gave the Cavs a new sense of belief that they only really had to be great or great enough for one game, and that was Game 7. And if Draymond Green doesn't get suspended, or there wasn't a feeling of his impending suspension going into Game 5, asking the Cavs to win twice in Oracle against the full-strength Warriors, I just don't think it happens.
It's interesting because you would think that guys wouldn't need that extra challenge. You always hear it about Michael Jordan. You hear it about LeBron James. They sometimes have to make up challenges. And you would think if the guys are that good that you wouldn't need to do that. It just would be a natural part of your demeanor and the way you approach the game. And yet these guys still need locker room material.
I also think it's just how good the Warriors were at close to full strength. And Draymond Green was the heartbeat of that team. He was the emotional tone setter. And going into a Game 5 without that kind of guy in a closeout situation, the Warriors couldn't play their best lineup, right? The Warriors couldn't have a guy who could spend more time against LeBron James. All of that burden went to Andre Iguodala, who was less than 100% for the final few games of that particular series. So I think it was just a domino, but it also goes to show, to me, how important Draymond Green was in that particular series. He was one guy that really, if you think about the year before, and I know the Cavs weren't at full strength the year before, but Steve Kerr's decision to put Draymond Green in the starting lineup and go with the quote-unquote death lineup, the Cavs didn't win a single game after that. And that was 2015, and Kyrie wasn't there and Kevin Love wasn't there, but I think it shows the kind of impact that Draymond had in this particular series, in this style of play.
Okay, so we know what happened to LeBron, although we don't know the outcome of this season yet. I think we have a pretty good idea. We know what's happened sort of with Kyrie. What happens with Kevin Love and with Tristan Thompson?
Moving forward, I mean, I think if I had to guess between the two, I would say the more likely guy to stick around is Kevin, because the Cavs and Kevin Love, to me, are still at the same place that they were at the very beginning when they decided to sign the contract extension. The value that the Cavs have placed on Kevin Love is not equal to the value that the rest of the NBA has placed on Kevin. That's fine. The Cavs felt like he was worthy of the 4-year, $120 million contract extension. They felt like he was going to be integral in their ability to shift from the championship era to a post-LeBron era. They wanted an adult in the room. They wanted somebody who could stabilize. They wanted somebody who could take pressure on the court, off the young players that they were going to bring here. But the NBA doesn't see him that way, Les. They see a guy who is on the wrong side of 30. He's got a bloated contract that is way too much for what he actually brings at this stage of his career. He's injury prone, and he's not a number 1. Maybe he's a 2. Maybe he's a number 3 on a championship contending team. So until that value becomes a lot closer, the offers that the Cavs are going to receive, and they'll listen to offers for Kevin Love, but the offers that they're going to receive are nothing that are going to make them say yes. They want some combination of players and picks. And an NBA team right now, unless they feel like Kevin is the missing piece, is just not going to offer that in his situation. As for Tristan Thompson, look, Les, I thought the minute that the Cavs traded for Andre Drummond that he was done, that there was no chance of him coming back. But there are so many unknowns right now when it comes to the NBA, when it comes to this offseason, when it comes to free agency. And I've spoken with people on both sides of these talks. Cavs side, Tristan Thompson's camp. And they all tell me the same thing. Hold on. There is a chance that he comes back. Now, that doesn't mean that it's absolutely going to happen, but one source classified it as 50-50, which surprised me, because I would have thought that it would have been way more slanted towards him leaving. But there's not expected to be a huge market for Tristan Thompson this offseason. Free agents are widely expected to probably sign 1-year deals so that they can re-enter free agency in 2021. And it matters deeply to Tristan to have his jersey retired. And if he comes back for another year or another couple of years and he continues to climb the all-time ranks of the Cavs, he's going to have a chance to have that jersey retired. Heck, it may be that you can make an argument that it goes up there as it is right now because of where he is in his career with this team.
Let's make this quick.
But when you factor all those things in, I think there's a chance he's back.
All right, let's make this quick here. When I was doing Cleveland State games, I got the opportunity to do two, 3 or 4 games a year against Winston Garland at Southwest Missouri State. 20 years later, his son pops up. Darius, what do we think of him at this point? This is an up and down year for him.
It's so hard to know, right?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at. We don't know what we're looking at.
No, how could you though? You know what I mean? Like, if you're being honest and if you're being fair and you're looking at the circumstances surrounding a player, look, sometimes situation and circumstance plays a large part in whether a guy has early success or not. Darius Garland played 4 games of college. He didn't play summer league. And then he had another injury in training camp that was a setback to him. So he comes into his first season in the NBA on a terrible team with a new head coach. There was already some gripes behind the scenes about John Beilein at that point in time. Darius is a little bit overweight because he wasn't able to work in the offseason the way that he wanted to because of all of those circumstances. He's thrown into a backcourt with Colin Sexton. Is an awkward fit from the very beginning. Everybody knew it was going to be. And he has one of the worst, well, statistically, he was the worst player in the NBA this year. So it's very, very difficult, though, to criticize him because a lot of these things had to be expected. In fact, the Cavs expected some of these rookie struggles. They didn't draft him to be the best player from this rookie class this year in year one. They drafted him to be the point guard of the future, to be the best player from this class eventually, if he could get to that particular ceiling. So the jury is still out, but it's hard for me to overly criticize him given all of the circumstances around his rookie year.
216-575-0403 if you want to get in with Chris Fedor, cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer. You can do that right now. You can also explore your interests and find a program that puts you on a path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses, and that's in over 140 career and technical programs. Try it. Go to try-c.edu for more information. Chris Fedor and I return in a moment. Mike Massetta will join us also. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a football insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
This date in sports history, 1994, the Houston Rockets beat the New York Knicks in Game 7 on their and win their first title. That was just 2 days after the whole country was watching A.C. Cowlings and O.J. Simpson and the White Bronco driving through the streets of Los Angeles. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Let's check out birthdays for the day. Calamari from the Italian restaurant. Pistol Pete Maravich, if you've never seen him play, Go Google him. Just watch him, and you'll be mesmerized by him. Glide Drexler, Kurt Warner. Pretty good day for birthdays. Danny Green and Omri Caspi, all born on the 22nd of June. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Chris Fedor is with us, covering the Cavaliers for cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. We're going to bring in Mike Masetta from Nature Stone. Hey, Mike, it's not a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
I hope you can start coming in and doing the spots for us, Les. You're doing great.
All right, I'll start tomorrow. What the heck?
Thank you. There you go.
Chris, you got to pick up whatever gig you can pick up. Hey, happy anniversary to you and everybody else.
Les.
What's that? Didn't hear.
I said, I know how this game works.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
Okay, so it's a happy anniversary to you, Mike. It's the 4th anniversary of the Cavaliers parade. Were you at the parade with your kids?
I was not. I did not go downtown. Yeah, but I know it was awesome. I mean, not only was it a championship, but it's a championship in Cleveland where they hadn't won one since the 50s. So it was a pretty amazing a time for everybody.
Yeah, if the Indians win it this year, we don't need a parade. Come on, we have them all the time.
Well, do they give a parade for winning 50 games, or how does that
yeah.
work?
Hey, Chris. Mike, with Chris here, give him and me your feelings as a Cavs fan. What's happened here in the last month or so?
Well, in the last month, you just missed basketball. I guess the Cavs are an interesting team because they've got a lot of young talent. And Bickerstaff took over as the coach, and they really started playing well, and seemed to respond to him. And then their veteran guys, the Thompsons and Kevin Loves and so forth, we're starting to come around, starting to play real well together as a team again. And then they make the big trade for Drummond, and you're starting to think that here they go. They're gonna be all right. They're get a nice high draft pick and maybe be good going into 2021. And then COVID hits, and it just sort of put a damper on the whole season because we didn't really get to see what they could have been.
Hey, Chris. Mike mentioned the draft choice. There's nobody really out there that's a game changer, is there?
It's just so hard, Les, because if you talk about the top players in this year's class, it's LaMelo Ball, it's Anthony Edwards from Georgia, it's James Wiseman from Memphis. There are just so many questions surrounding each one of those guys. Anthony Edwards played on one of the worst teams in the SEC. James Wiseman played 3 games, 25 of his 28 made baskets were dunks or layups. And then LaMelo Ball, he played in Australia, so you wonder about the level of competition. And then on top of that, his season ended early because he had a foot injury. So it's a very, very difficult draft, and I've had multiple people at this point, Les, compare it to the 2013 NBA draft when Anthony Bennett went number 1 overall. You were able to get some good players a little bit later on, but the best player did not go number 1, and that might be the situation again this year.
They got some great leapers in Australia. I couldn't resist it. So it just happens.
I love it. Yeah.
Thank you. Mike, make it quick here. We got to run along here, but there's some hope on the baseball front. What are you thinking on that?
Well, again, we've talked about this. I'm just looking forward to getting some professional college, something we can watch. I'm a huge baseball guy, as you know, so any baseball, any way that they can get it on the field is going to make me happy. And so I'm real excited to hear that there's some movement there.
Chris, how about you? I don't think we touched on baseball. What do you think? You don't cover it, so it's different. What do you think about what's going on?
I just think a huge missed opportunity for baseball.
Yeah.
There was a chance for them to be the first one to restart. There was a chance for them to have all eyes on them and maybe bring in a new generation of fans. And instead, they've angered everybody by bickering back and forth.
Yeah.
So I hope they get something done, even if it's a shortened season. But I feel like there's already a lot of bad blood and bad feelings from all sides, based
including
on
the fans.
open negotiations that they've been having.
All right, Mike, thanks so much for joining us. As always, we got squeezed here a little bit, but as always, we appreciate your coming on and giving us your take on it.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. It's not just the floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 locations, east, west, and to the south. Check them out. They've got a 1-year best price guarantee, all at Northeast Factory Direct and northeastfactorydirect.com. We'll come back in a moment. Chris Fedor with us. We'll hear what David Griffin, the former GM, had to say, and the Facebook questions of the day, and some How Come Quickies when we get back. More sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your basement is the go-to part of your home. It's your children's rec room. It's where your family and friends spend time together. It's much more than just a basement. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic Nature Stone basement floor. And every Nature Stone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive mini pearl stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
I'd like to thank and congratulate Bob Myers and the Golden State Warriors organization on a truly historic run the last 2 seasons. It's important that you know that because it was a run that pushed Ty Lue and his coaches, Larry Drew, Jim Boylan, Mike Longobardi, Brett Brillmeyer. It pushed him and his staff. It pushed Trent Redden, Kobe Altman, and Mike Gansey in our front office. It pushed our ownership group, our entire team, and our team behind the team, and you guys all know who you are, to find excellence and find it as quickly as possible. I think it took a team that good to force us to the brink, to force us to ignore the noise and lean on one another, to sacrifice for one another, and to find what Steve Kerr, who I once worked with, called appropriate fear. They made us come out and give everything we had. We had to be all in order to find our collective greatness. Without them, we could not have made history by rallying for that brink and overcoming a 3-1 deficit for the first time in NBA history. So here we are, Cleveland. After 52 years, everyone here, everyone in the state of Ohio, every Cavs fan that has rocked the Q or Richfield Coliseum, every member of Wine and Gold United, you are all champions. But with that, I'd like to challenge you, and some responsibility comes with this. We can no longer be the city that defines its failures by titles. The shot, the drive, the fumble, all must now be replaced by the block, the 3, and the D.
That never caught on.
No, it really didn't. Maybe another 20 years from now.
David Griffin, that was kind of a strange leaving, the way it happened. Are things different if he stays?
So I'll say it would have been different from this standpoint, Les, because I don't want to say that he would have been the cure-all. But Griff did a great job throughout the course of his tenure of calming down Kyrie, calming down LeBron, and bringing guys closer together. He knew Kyrie was a challenge, and he accepted that challenge, and he had a great relationship with Kyrie. There was mutual trust between the two. So could he have calmed Kyrie down? Could he have talked Kyrie off the ledge? He would have had a better chance than general manager Kobe Altman. I'll say that. But the reasons why Kyrie left and the reasons why he no longer wanted to play with LeBron, there's nothing that Griff or anybody else could have done about that. Now, maybe Griff would have gotten a better package in return for Kyrie that would have allowed the Cavs to continue the dynasty and maybe pursue some other top-level trade opportunities. Maybe he would have been better equipped to do that because he had more experience.
Right.
Well, Kyrie wanted out, and it was because of LeBron.
We threw out this question on our Facebook page. 4 years ago today, Cleveland held the parade to celebrate the Cavs championship. What's your favorite moment or memory of the season? Larry Pantages says Tristan Thompson coming to the Macy's store at Summit Mall to sign autographs for regular people. He was gracious and humble. Andy Mees, the dismissal of David Blatt and in favor of Ty Lue, elevated the Cavs from being a very good team to being a championship caliber one. Glenn Berger says Kyrie's step-back three-point shot over Curry with 53 seconds remaining put the Cavs up by 3. That basket pushed the Cavs over the top and helped the Cavaliers win their first championship trophy, a fantastic finish. Aaron Wood says Game 7 of the 2016 Finals when LeBron blocked the layup by Iguodala, and then the team got the championship trophy. It still doesn't seem real that the Cavs won it all. Kevin Quimby, the block. We're going to take a break. We're going to come on back. You can also get in on voicemail of Truth and Reason. Leave us a message by calling us on our special number, 216-200-6650. Call anytime and leave a message. We'll play it on a future show. We're coming back in a moment. One more time, more sports and Les Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your garage is the entrance to your home. It's where your kids come in from school. It's where your family and friends gather together. It's much more than just a garage. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone garage floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive gray-brown blend stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, Bud Shaw joins us. Wednesday night, Andy Baskin. Thursday, it'll be Mary Kay Cabot. And, of course, you see us live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And throughout the day, you can archive it. Hey, Chris, we go back into history here. We've got one of the all-time Mount Rushmore How Come Quickies. You ready? How come if the star of 30 Rock married the Russian center on the 2015-16 Cavs championship team, her name would be Tina Fey Mozgov? I don't hear any response.
Oh my goodness.
Did we turn off the microphone or something? We must have turned off the microphone. Thanks. Oh, okay. That's a good enough response. Appreciate it very much. Let's check out Les Levine history on this date. Braves trade John Rocker to the Indians for Troy Cameron, who's nobody's heard of, along with Steve Reed and Steve Carsey. Carsey still owes Les a steak dinner from a Super Bowl bet they made on More Sports and Les Levine back in January. Chris, any idea how I go collect that from Steve Carsey?
That's a very good question. Did you make a Super Bowl bet on the Browns, did you?
No, on whoever won that year with the points, whatever. We take them any way we can get them.
I just feel like sometimes
all right,
you never know what's factual with that.
Help me out here. Got a couple minutes to talk about this. Where do the Cavs go from here? Where do they? That's a good enough question. Where do they go from here?
It's a very, very important offseason, Les, because internally this organization has always been looking at year 3 of the rebuild in order to take the next step. Now, does that mean playoffs? Probably too early for that. But at least the next step where they're not one of the worst teams in the NBA. So they have a decision to make on Andre Drummond, although it's not really their decision. Drummond's probably going to opt into his contract, and he's going to take up all their cap space. So then they have to figure out if Tristan Thompson's going to be back, if they get an offer for Kevin Love that they like enough, who they're going to take in the NBA draft. But I'll say this, Les, of all of the bad things that happened to the Cavs this year, in many ways they had to happen. And I say that because it led them to JB Bickerstaff. And when you're talking about a rebuild, it's about finding out what you have, what you don't have. At the very least, the Cavs know one thing. They've got their head coach. And sometimes that's very, very difficult to find in the NBA. And JB Bickerstaff is the right person for this job.
How does that happen that a guy who's been around the league, his father was a longtime coach and active in NBA circles, how does he even last? He's young, but how does he even last only this amount? I mean, everybody knew him. Everybody knew his head coaching material, quality head coaching. Why did he have to sit and wait so long?
Well, you know, he got a look in Memphis, and then all of a sudden they had an organizational shift. And then part of the reason why he came here to Cleveland, Les, beyond the fact that his father's in the front office, he's got a great relationship with general manager Kobe Altman. And because the Cavs built it into JB's contract, that eventually, when things went bad with John Beilein, nobody thought it was going to be 54 games, but eventually JB was going to be the succession plan because he wowed them in the interview process, because they really liked him in the interview process. And he turned down an opportunity with the Sacramento Kings and his buddy Luke Walton to be an assistant coach there because he felt like there was a bridge to becoming a head coach here in Cleveland, something that he really, really wanted because he has a great relationship with Kobe Altman and he wants to help turn this program around.
Well, Chris, I checked during the break. No jewelry store in town was able to tell me what I'm supposed to get the guests on the 4th anniversary of the championship. So we're going to keep digging and find out and get it for you as soon as we can.
A ring won't do it?
Do you have one?
No, I don't. I would like one. That'd be nice.
Well, maybe Dan Gilbert will come up when they win this year. Maybe the media will get it. All right, Chris, thanks so much for joining us and helping us celebrate, and we'll talk to you soon.
You got it, Les. Thanks, man.
Thank you. All right, Chris Fedor did a great job, always does a great job. Cleveland.com and The Plain Dealer. All right, that'll do it for us. Tomorrow night, we've got Bud Shaw. Wednesday night, it'll be Andy Baskin because the D-Man has a previous obligation. And then on Thursday, it'll be Mary Kay Cabot. We'll see you tomorrow. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.